just a second. And yeah, let's see. Hi guys, I'm just setting up the technical stuff. As always, is usually like we're a couple of seconds, even when we're doing all the techie stuff. But as we're gonna go with the technology to the future, I was just talking to Amanda just before we jumped in as well. It will become a little bit more smoother and easier and everything else. It's like when you jump into the pool the first time, it feels awkward and everything, but it will smooth down as well. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say good morning to whoever it's here. Our video that we've done last week on Friday, so we have a commitment. So if you haven't watched that one, there is an idea of like our intentions, the energy that we have around it. And I would definitely advise you to find out a little bit more about, Amanda and myself, how did we meet and everything else. And we have an intention of doing it on a daily basis, Monday to Friday to begin with, maybe some weekends later on as well. And I put a link on the previous video as well, and I'll put it in here as well. We're creating a channel where we can communicate with you even without YouTube, for example. We're using Telegram at the moment. I'll put a link below this video afterwards as well, after the recording. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything else that feels good for you, you can always do here on YouTube as well. And yeah, we're probably going to be sharing this in other places as well afterwards, but that's not complicated anyway. As I said, our chats will be very like in the flow, like with what feels good as well. And then this morning, Amanda was really looking forward for this call, and I was excited as well because she mentioned even last week what the date means as well, because it's 11th of 11th, and then there's a meaning behind it, and you're going to get to know us as well. We're going to connect a little bit of what we label as numerology or spirituality and all the good stuff there as well. So I will pass the voice to Amanda to talk about the 11th of 11th. And as I said, our intention is to keep this as well for about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. So that's our intention. So yeah, Amanda.
Oh, thank you, Junior. Well, good morning, everybody. And as Junior was saying before we started talking today, we're really keen to encourage people, if you're listening live, but even if you're listening to this via a recording, it's the same energy. And as we're talking through things as well as you're listening, as we started saying on Friday, we invite you to listen to what we're saying, but also to feel what we're saying as well, starting to understand that a lot of our intelligence is in our bodies as well as in our hearts, and starting to activate that sort of higher parts of ourselves as well, and integrate and embody those two. So if you're listening live, lovely to see you. And if you're listening on a recording, it's beautiful to see you here too. And as Junior said today, I think 11th of November, it's a really powerful time. And I'm not a numerologist, so I don't want to talk about this as an expert in numerology, but as an energetic person and a spiritual person, and also from an area of intellect as well and understanding. 11/11, it's a timeline on planet Earth that we're able now to access even more. It's a timeline of an incredible opportunity. And Junior and I, the work that we do in our work life and very much in our personal lives as well, it's about stepping into something new, liberation, higher consciousnesses, higher understandings, higher ways of being. And it's about releasing, integrating the old. And we're not saying anything that releasing or integrating into our heart is wrong. We're just saying, as we're shifting into the new and this higher consciousness, moving away from power, we're moving into being our high self and the unity and our creativity and our gifts and our values, releasing any ideas that are based on insecurity, false beliefs about ourselves, ideas that we've all taken on. There are no new false beliefs. If you've got a false belief about yourself, I promise you, you are not on your own. There are thousands, if not millions of other people on this beautiful planet that are having the same thing. So as we talk today, it's important we share that we're also going to be downgrading and sharing this energy. So it's not just knowledge we're sharing. I want you to feel that this energy is being downgraded, and it's an upgrade. So we're downgrading it into your system, but we're also upgrading. It's a time for your body and your cells to say, it is time. We've done years of work. It's time now to be liberated. And it's a beautiful energy, all those patterns that a lot of us have worked so hard in releasing, we're realizing it's time to integrate them, and we can feel them and we can release them. And it's about also, it's that journey from just logical thinking, it's that journey down to our hearts and our souls and our higher self as well. That's very real. And that higher self is intelligent, intuitive, loving, but it's very unity based as well. There are no power games here, there's no insecurity. It's always about more conscious, more evolving choices that are good for us, that bring out our infinite values and gifts that are also really unique as well. So, really quite joyful about sharing this energy today. And it's always beautiful talking to you, Junior, as well, because we love sort of bouncing this off each other. And I'll come at it with a certain perspective, and then Junior, you always come back with a perspective. And that's what we really like about our talks, because you hear things by different people in different ways, don't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, I love kind of as you're talking as well, Amanda, I'm kind of translating a little bit, like for some of the people as well in my mind, like some of the good things, some words that is like really pop up for me as I was listening to you.
Yeah.
One is you mentioned feel into what we're talking rather
Yeah.
than just listening into it. And then there are a few words that for some people may feel uncommon that we use like on a daily basis, for example, like energy. And I know that we use it, I mean, on a regular basis, and it feels like, connected with us as well. And we do, even like for people that are not so connected with the spirituality and numerology,
Mhm.
whichever, label we're going to put it out there,
Yeah.
they can connect with energy. There are some words that I know, I notice a lot, kind of, we use that as well, patterns
Mhm.
and thoughts. Then there is another bringing to our higher self. So as we go along with all of, our chats and everything else, those words will become more familiar. For some of you, I think you will get it, like, I get what someone is saying, the higher self, the energy, the patterns and belief system, thoughts, and not being ourselves, our false self, and everything else. For some of us, it will be like, what are they talking about? What is it? Do you see different language in that way?
And I
uh,
think also,
yeah,
if you're drawn to listening to
yeah,
this, even if you don't know why you're sent this link or you came across us, maybe you're putting in words into the search engine, and there's a feeling, as June is so beautifully explaining as well, that there'll be a feeling of, even if I really know why I'm here, I know what
yeah,
June and I are talking about, and I'm thirsty, I'm reveling in this. Or even as Junior said, you're sitting there saying, I kind of don't know why I'm here, but it feels right. So I'm really keen to get involved. And that's where the questions and answers can come in even more as well. If you just send us a question saying, what does that mean? Could you expand on that a little bit more? We'd love to.
yeah. I mean, that's a great point, like I'm understanding there. So if there is something, because I highlighted a few things that just came up to my mind as I was listening to it. I
Yeah.
know that you can highlight some words, and then for either way, like, there's an spectrum of people and understanding in here. So if you're very familiar, just say like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I get that we're going into, a higher, frequency. We're connecting with ourself and higher self and so on. That's great. Just let us know that you're there. If you're not, just let us know as well. Like, Junior, what is this? Or Amanda, you mentioned this. I never heard of that before. Or it feels, and then again, that's a cool thing. It feels like, yes, I heard about energy before,
Mm.
but there's something here that I'm feeling is different the way that you're talking about.
Yeah. And
What
of
is
course,
it that you? talking about exactly? How does it, that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you are that person that feeling that way, just, yeah, drop us a comment as well below, and so we can kind of connect with you as well and understand what's going on. Yeah.
We love that, because as Junior and I were saying, this is very much a collective, isn't it? Like you and I talking, but we really want to embrace, and whoever's listening to this, whether live or recorded, that you are part of this, that you're here with us. So again, on an energetic level, and energy is just really what we're talking about. Energy creates everything. Everything that's happening has an energy creativeness behind it, whether it's a thought, a physical thing, our bodies. Our thoughts are energy based, they have an energy behind them. And also, on a deeper level, we're all connected on an energy level. We talk about the web, the universal web, like a spider on a web, like she'll feel a vibration right at the corner of her web, something just brushes past and she'll just feel that. So we're all connected. And also, I love how we talk, because you bring things in that I hadn't thought about, and we love that.
Yeah.
But of course, even if you're sitting there saying, I've been drawn to this, or someone's giving me this to listen to, it's not about right or wrong. We're not saying, well, if you know all this, that's great, and if you don't, why don't you? We're all on our paths at different times, and as our consciousness elevates, our thoughts and ideas, it's a continuous evolution. We're all evolving continuously. So there isn't a that's better than that, or there's none of that. It's just where we are now. It's the perfect place to be. There's things I don't know, there's things Junior don't know that you will know. So that's where we want to make it very much a community and a share, because we can learn from you as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And there's something that I'm bringing back, in terms of the feeling that you mentioned earlier as well. Like, when I started kind of like looking into this, lots of different books, different authors, and we're probably going to be mentioning some names as well that we connected with, different teachers you see along the time, like Eckhart Tolle. And then I know that Amanda is a big fan of Eckhart Tolle. I'm the same. But it was interesting when I started watching Esther Hicks, for example, or Abraham Hicks. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but there was something calling me to be there. Do you see what I mean? There was something that it feels good to be watching this. And then I was watching one episode and another one and another one and another one and another one, until kind of there is a moment where I'm not saying I understand everything, that I'm using it, everything, but it's like, oh, it feels easier now. I get it. Do you see what she's saying? I understand what's going on in that way. It feels even more connected. But even before that feeling of like connection, there was like, there's something here. There's something drawing my attention to it. There's a feeling that, yeah.
And that's beautiful, because we're saying that what we're sort of talking about, sharing today, is starting to untrust. There might just be an intuitive feeling of, I actually don't know why I'm listening to this, but I feel drawn to this. It's almost like a part of you saying, you're ready to start, expanding a little bit and start opening up your thoughts and ideas, maybe starting to be aware of, actually, what are my thoughts and what are my beliefs? And because we talked about unconscious patternings, and we've all got them, they're quite normal, but some of those patterns of survival we're so beautifully now evolving out of. So it is this time of liberation, integration, embodiment. And also, as I said before, and Junior's mentioned, when you're drawn to something, there'll be a reason for that. And you might not know why at the time. The work that we do together as well is starting to trust a feeling that feels loving, and it feels calm, and it feels relaxed. And when you find something that is right for you, even if you're going, I don't get this yet, or I get this, there'll be a feeling of, it'll feel a little bit clearer. There'll feel a bit of a sort of clarity in your body. You'll start to feel a little bit calmer. Your nervous system will feel a bit more relaxed. And the ideas that you're hearing, you go, I don't know if I kind of like that. They feel a little bit exciting. But also, as we release these unconscious patternings that the 1111 is so beautifully about, it's not about letting go or moving away from or pushing against anything, or I've got to run away from this because I don't like them. That's the old way. We're moving into that new understanding that it's about being kind to ourselves, talking to those parts of ourselves and saying, well, we know you're doing that because ultimately you wanted me to survive in this physical world. And it was needed. So those patterns went wrong. They're about us surviving, and they've worked because we're here. 2019, we've survived. So it's knowing we're ready to evolve to that next level of consciousness. And life is always evolving. Life wants to evolve all the time. That's its energy, that's its inspiration. So the 1111, that's why it's exciting to share this, because you might be listening saying, I've got these patterns that I just don't seem to be able to shift out of. And we're saying that by allowing yourself to start to feel those patterns, talk to those patterns, what do those patterns need within you? What are they trying to say to you? Where are you holding them?
Can I just, I'm going to ask a question. I think it will be helpful for everyone that is listening as well. When we mention patterns, that's what can we give some examples like of, thoughts or patterns that we know is repeating? Like, so for the meaning of patterns, we know is something that is repeating over and over again in that sense. So it's, can you bring some examples of patterns that people might be experiencing, and then there is different ways that we've dealt with it in the past, and then there's a new way of doing it, and then everything else. So some examples of those patterns, I would say.
That's a brilliant question. And patterns, we know another word that relates to patterns are cycles. Mm-hmm. So when we're stuck in what we call a subconscious pattern, and we talk about the egoic patterns, I'm very much not about beating up on the ego. We need an ego, but what we're doing now, we're integrating our ego, we're embodying it into our higher self. So these patterns are subconscious patterns that we take on almost in a very hypnotic way. Our brains are like sponges up until the age of 7. And even then, we're very much about, we learn from our environment. So patterns can be patterns that we learn from our family. They can be patterns that we learn from our society. And I believe we can take them on epigenetically. We take them on through our genes. And there's been evidence to show that ancestors and our patterns that have been through maybe a genocide, children born today are having nightmares about genocide, even though they haven't lived them. So it's almost like our ancestors are saying, right, we experienced this thing, so we want you to be alert to it now to stay safe. So so patterns are often a survival pattern. So a pattern could be, and we can have positive patterns as well. They're not always negative, but obviously we're talking about the painful patterns as well that we're wanting to release and integrate into more loving, uplifting, inspiration, evolving patterns. So we know when something's an egoic pattern, subconscious pattern, because it cycles. It keeps coming back. It's on a loop, and there can be lots of different things. We can get almost addicted to the emotion that pattern brings. Maybe that pattern is a feeling of anxiety. So there might be a thought that we're not aware of yet that we've taken on that says, I'm just not safe in this world. I'm not safe in this world. And there can be lots of things that have happened to us to make us think that, or we've experienced others going through things that think we're not safe. But when we're not conscious of that pattern, so it's almost like a little blueprint for survival in our brain that's going, got to be hyper alert, and I'm constantly looking out for signs of danger. But when we're not aware of that, we just feel constantly anxious. We're constantly thinking, we're constantly trying to analyze the world around us. And when we don't do that, we sort of go into new situations that our hearts are saying, this is going to be a great potential for you. Your values can really come out as a gift to the world. It's going to be joyful, ready to go. But this subconscious pattern, survival pattern, almost like a program in your computer that's going, go out in the world. I think that world's safe, and you're not safe. Remember, you're not safe in this world, remember? So we're going to maybe create things that are going to sabotage that so you don't go out into the world, because remember, it's not safe, and you're not safe, and the world's not safe, and people aren't safe. But when you're not actually consciously aware that that's happening, it's just this pattern that's firing in the background. And you can be doing things saying, I think I sabotage that and I don't know why, or why am I blocking that? I don't know. So a pattern, you'll know it's a pattern because it'll be something that will cycle and it will keep coming back. And the reason that keeps coming back, the reason life keeps making things happen, that you'll say, well, I don't want that to happen. Life's saying we're going to make things happen because we love and adore you, and we're going to make things happen so that these patterns will come into sharp focus for you. So a good example would be, let's say I didn't know I've got some glass in my foot. I don't think to look at my foot, but I just keep being aware my foot hurts when I walk on it. But so I might want to get fit, but when I run it hurts, so I can't run. I want to do lots of things, but I can't because walking hurts. So I'm just going to sit on the sofa because walking hurts. I've got a painful foot. And that's a little bit like the subconscious patterns. When we think, what if I can actually look at what's hurting me? What if I can actually go to the place that's hurting me? I've created thoughts of, I'm not safe to walk because it's painful, when actually there's something that's creating the pain. And it's not a piece of glass in our minds. It's a thought that thinks it's keeping us safe. So by going to our foot, having a look, hey, what's hurting? Oh, there's a piece of glass there. And we're realizing now we don't actually need to work out how that glass got there, why it's there. There's just a piece of glass there. And by lovingly knowing, we can take that glass out, we can heal the foot. We can now say to our mind, see, our foot's healing now. It's going to be safe to walk on. We're safe to walk now. You mean I can now start running, I can now start walking, I can now start exercising, I can get out and start meeting people, I can start living things that feel inspiring. Yeah, because you're safe to now.
I love the analogy, and like I'm yeah, it's interesting that you brought the foot analogy there, because it just came to my awareness, and I will share some personal examples that are happening at the moment. One is my mom. She got diagnosed with like a spore, I think, on her foot, which is
Oh,
like a little, yeah, spur, yeah.
yeah.
And Gabo this morning, my fiance, and then he woke up and then he had this massive itch, in his feet, and like on both of the feet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, of course, I mean, the coincidences that happened in there.
Serendipity.
And what I've been doing with mom, for example, is just like exploring, exactly what Amanda was saying. Like, it's not like I shouldn't have that or anything, but it's more like listening to it. Okay, what would you like me to do? Go into the pain, go into the problem, and
Yeah.
then there is a reason why is it there. It's bringing awareness. It's like we had a conversation Amanda and I, like last week as well, and I mentioned about this acronym for pain that I heard from someone else, and it was like pain. It's nothing more than like presence, because as soon as you got a pain, a physical pain, emotional pain, or something, you are present. You're present to that moment. Like if you got a pain in your feet or on your foot in that moment, you will be aware of it. So then presence, and then awareness that comes to that place. And then if you pay attention and you listen to it, you feel into it, then you can start getting some insights of what may be. And then, like Amanda was saying, oh, there is a piece of glass there. There is an insight. Then you can take an action, which is the new thing that you're going to create with it, which is I'll remove that glass from it, for example. And if it's something that it's attached to an emotion or something like that, like the itchiness from Gabo, there might be, an emotion attached to it, or my mom's spur, heel
Yeah.
spur that she got, it might be an emotion attached to how she created it, all of that. It's not even blaming, it's not victimizing or anything. It's just, oh, it's interesting. There's something that my body wants to communicate with me to
Yeah.
bring potentially a pattern or a thought pattern that have been running for years in cycles and cycles over and over again.
Yeah. And
Right?
it's difficult because we're saying, as we said, I think on Friday, if something hurts as we've been taught to run away from it, if something hurts, I don't want to feel it because it hurts. So we don't want to look at our foot because, oh, that's going to hurt. And we sort of hold our foot close and we sort of try and protect it. And we're saying today, you can hold pain because we are a huge, expansive created being that is more than that pain. So we can hold it in that space. We're not so scared of it. We create a space around the pain. It's not just this huge pain. When you go into it with awareness, you can hold a space around the pain that feels loving and kind and supportive and solution orientated as well, because pain doesn't mean we're doing something wrong. It's not that something's wrong. It's just that something's ready to be, as you say, looked at with awareness and kindness and love and solution. And sometimes when something holds us, if there isn't a actual physical thing for that, sometimes just holding it, that pain in that space, sometimes it just wants us to be with it, acknowledge it, be aware of it. And often when you do that, that painful energy, by holding it and being with it and listening to it and just holding it in your heart and being that space around it, almost nurturing it, it'll often go, oh, I've been listened to now. And you're holding it. And that's when it can be reintegrated or returned to the source energy it came from, for that energy now to create a more loving, a more solution orientated, a healing, a clearing. So we start to understand that when we hold a pain, quite often it won't just go. There's a time of just being with it, holding with it, and we're safe to do that. It's not going to take you over. It's not going to engulf you. You don't need to run away from it anymore. And then we can, as you say, our intuition, life, because we're saying to life, hey, life, I'm starting to understand that you love and adore me and you're always wanting the best for me. Got this pain in my foot. I'm holding it. I'm having a look. And I'm asking you to bring solution to me as well. So you might get inspired idea to go to see your doctor, or talk to a friend about it who says, gosh, I had the same thing and I did this and it worked. So and also when we are open to everything we're experiencing, whether it's good or bad, because we're told that if we have negative thoughts, we shouldn't be having those, and we start to judge ourselves. But when we're very open to ourselves and very transparent and honest, with no shame or judgment, we can start sharing ourselves with others as well. So we can say to somebody, I'm going through this thing and it's really hurting me. And often life will put us with somebody that will say, yeah, I do the same. And, I've got things that I can maybe share with you. We become open and transparent. And that's when life can go, they're open to healing. They're open to healing. They're open to sharing. They're open to evolving. They're open to liberating themselves from something that's keeping them here. Because as we said at the beginning, who we are, our very core of us, is constantly wanting to evolve and expand and grow and sort of heal and get new understandings as well. So that's the important thing we want to share as well. It's knowing how to be in that space. I know that's something we're going to do in another episode, where we're able to actually show you how to do an open-eyed meditation, to show you how to feel into your body using your breathing. Then you start to feel this expansive space within you, and that's where we can hold whatever that painful emotional thought is within that space. But that space, that energy now feels held in a loving, supportive space.
Amazing, amazing, Amanda. I feel like I can't wait for sharing with you guys as well. And we're gonna be sharing some like meditations with you. I know how much Amanda, connect with that as well, and potentially some audios as well for you guys. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward for that. I'm just keeping hold of the time, just so we can keep it honoring our time and also the people as well, so we can actually be here every day, GC, to me, during the week and so on. To wrap up, what's coming to me, it's like I think we got a little bit more clarity in terms of like how we connecting here, why we're here, GC, to me, watching this together. I feel we went into awareness, understanding a little bit more about patterns, subconscious patterns as well, how we can start becoming aware of it, and how pain could be a possibility. Like it could be emotional pain or physical pain that is bringing that awareness, and it can give an insight for the next action. And like Amanda beautifully put it in there, They could be the insight of like, you know what, actually, I'm going to go to the doctors. And then you find out, you know, what's the reason. Or actually, let me have a look at the feet. And then you go there and you find out there's a piece of glass. Do you see what I mean? We can be easily removed and so on. I would love to wrap up because we start with this idea of the 11/11.
Yeah.
What is the gift that we can get, or the help, or you know, the energy that we're getting about the 11/11, because today is the 11/11, and even regardless if you're watching this afterwards or anything else,
Oh,
there's a meaning for why you're listening to this
exactly.
specifically. So what can we take, what's the message that we can take from this 11/11, so we can, you know, wrap up with that message?
Well, thank you, Genia. I love how you have such a wonderful energy that keeps things on track. I love that. 'Cause we just sit here for days, wouldn't we, just
We
talking?
would.
So the 11/11, it's a kind of opening. It's I say the word gateway, but not in a way to go, oh, that sounds really spiritual. But it's an opening. It's a new timeline. It's about transformation, integration, embodiment, bringing in the new, and allowing all of ourselves to come into this new timeline. So if you're listening to this in months from now, that timeline is for you to access. It's accessible, and also to just give you some encouragement to say that it's a new energy. It's an energy that's encouraging us to reintegrate, to allow us to release back into its original source of origin, things that aren't sourcing us, so that energy can be kind of recycled again. But if there's a part of us that's maybe stuck in those patterns that we talked about earlier, we can lovingly bring that with us down into our hearts, into our intelligence, say, hey, honey, it's a new time and it's joyful and expansive. And it's also 11/11 is about our own self mastery as well. It's about knowing that when we go into a feeling, it's not about taking action straight away. By being in that feeling, we get inspiration, we get ideas, we get understanding. And also, 11/11 is about starting to understand creation. We're co creative beings. It's not about, if I have that, it will give me what I feel and I feel better. The new way is, how do I want to feel in my life? I want to feel joyful. I want to feel inspired. I want to feel there's new and a wholeness coming through. And the universe goes, Julia, Amanda, and all these beautiful people listening, when they feel joyful, they're telling us they want to have physical experiences that make them feel joyful. And the universe kind of goes like a Lego instruction kit. What experiences can we bring to these amazing beings that will create joy in their life? So we acknowledge how we want to feel. We can feel that feeling, even when life outside of us isn't giving us any situation to create that. We understand that being co-creative is about feeling it first. And when we feel it from our heart and our soul, it will always feel expansive. But when we feel it from our ego and those patterns, there'll be a sort of need to it, and a bit of oppression. It'll be, I haven't got enough time, I need to do this, I don't know how, and there'll be a pressure behind it. So we're going to share as well how to create from a deeper place that creates, because anything you want really is how you think having that's going to make you feel. So we're going to how to create from a place of feeling.
I feel, yeah, this is beautiful, Amanda, and like I know if you're watching this, you can feel what Amanda was just saying. You can feel a little bit more. You can connect with it, because we all been into that place where it's like, oh, I want to feel at peace because my mind is going all over the place, or I want to remove that anxiety, or I want to feel more love, I want to feel more joy and everything else. And this is another thing that we're going to talk about it, because contrast, you know, like feeling unsettled, feeling stressed, feeling anxious and everything else is nothing more like what we spoke earlier, which is pain. So you see, bringing you awareness of what's possible and how you can change that, and you can connect with that joy, that feeling of good and so on. So guys, we're definitely gonna go on a tap. I hope I can leave you with that little taste of like, I want more, what's gonna be next, how can I get to that feeling and so on. So we're definitely gonna do that on the next episodes that we're going to be talking about this stuff as well. We're definitely going to teach you, you know, a little bit of more of what we know, what's, you know, connecting with us as well, how you can connect more with that feeling of joy, love, self-worth, and everything else that we're going to talk here as well. But yeah, it's just that feeling of new, the 1111, that I want you to live with, that, oh, there's something, there's a spark of hope, or, you know, there's something new coming up from this conversation. So I hope you,
There's an
yeah,
energy there as well, that you're not on your own doing this. There's an
exactly.
energy with you. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a reason why you're here, you're listening to this as well. So I just want to say a massive thank you. I want to honor our time. So if it's okay for you, Amanda, we're going to end it up here. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So much you want to share, but very aware that it's beautiful how we're doing it. So yeah, it's been so
So
lovely sharing with
I
everybody as
want
well.
you guys to feel like, yeah, I want to watch the next one as well. So we're gonna live the same way. We have this feeling of like sharing more. We will, and it will come up with the next episodes as well. So thank you so much for being here. As always, like, if you want to connect with us a little bit closer, so there will be a link for, you know, the Telegram group. If you don't know what Telegram is and everything else, just, yeah, find out. You will follow the energy. We're gonna help you out. If there is anything that it connected with you, it didn't connect with you, any questions, comments, or insights, or anything else, leave the comment. Even if you're watching this on the recording, if it feels good to watch again, then leave it on the recording below. If you would like to, you know, get notifications on YouTube, then subscribe to our channel as well, and then going from there. Any other final words, Amanda?
I just love how you have the ways for people to connect here. I think it's beautiful that you have that knowledge and that skill set. So yeah, I just really encourage everybody to have a wonderful day and step into this. Even if it's just an inkling, something feels new, and I'm not on my own with this. Life wants this to happen, and it's been beautiful sharing this time with you, and lots of love. And bye bye for now.
Bye bye, guys. Take care.